This is the Hyundai Ioniq 9, and underneath it's a Kia EV9. But I don't think that's necessarily what you should compare it to. The Ioniq 9 is the latest offering from Kia's sister, a 3-row all-electric SUV with some pretty bold styling. The bold styling is pretty far from its Kia relative and strikes me more of giving a Swedish minimalist vibe, in the vein of a Volvo. I can see this car as more of a Volvo EX90 competitor than a Kia with a sleek body. The Ioniq 9 starts at 64995 and the Volvo starts at 82,000. They both have roughly the same range of 380 miles, they both have 7 seats, they both have a family-focused interior, and in both it's a nice place to be. I'm struggling to see why you'd spend £17,000 extra on the Volvo. Anyway, let's have a walk around it. This isn't actually my car, it is the man standing behind the camera, but he's invited me to come and have a look at it and get a rough idea of it. First thing walking up to the car that I spot is this glass panel-y type thing. Now, absolutely fine. All of the ADAS, all of the warning stuff, you've got this little sort of screen down there, this little TV screen stuck behind this bit of plastic. That's fine, because the alternative is what Volvo have done with the EX90, which is put it on the roof, which just makes the car look like a massive taxi. So I'm quite happy that they've put it down here above the camera, below the camera, sorry, and they've put it behind this bit of glass. However, when you come and buy one of these second-hand in 3 years' time, and that's all chipped up, you go behind a Ford Transit on the motorway, and that's getting peppered. So first things first that they need to make sure that they've done is that this is easily replaceable by the dealer for no more than 100 quid. That's my first thing. We seem obsessed with modern electric cars in general of having long strip lights down a car, but that's not what they've done here. Even on this, the top calligraphy model, this is all just plastic down there, but it roughly keeps it in check. It's got the pixely lights that it always has, and I've always thought the badges are getting too big on Hyundais. What else we got? I do like these are the top spec wheels, the full 21 inch. They are 21 inch, yeah, they are 21 inch ones that are supposed to look like the fan on a jet, on your 747, on your EasyJet flight to Ibiza. Walking around the car, the door, it has a lovely door. Would you agree? It has a very, very
firm shut.
It's got some weight to it. The handle's got weight to it. It doesn't feel tinny. It feels pretty solid on the inside there with the little Ioniq 9 denomination on there. Get into the car, and it's all fairly Hyundai, and it's all fairly Ioniq. We've got the typical big stalk that you had to start off with on the Ioniq 5, this sort of Cyberman penis that you have coming out of the steering column here, but they've moved the start-stop button from sort of, well, here, where you could never see it, so I'm very glad it was always sort of here, behind there, and they've moved it onto the stalk now, which is a damn sight better. And what else we got? First of all, we've got the driver monitoring system in here, which will drive me insane typically, and so we've got a Cyberman penis and we've got the love egg to start it up. Oh, I'm going for the button that isn't there anymore. That's how much I am familiar with the Ioniq setup on this. Inside, again, as I was talking about on the BYD, we haven't got a cover, but I do think that the instrument panel here is a lot easier to see than the BYD, rather than just having a flat panel slightly tilted back. This is sort of a, was it concave or convex?
Concave.
It's concave, isn't it? Concave, it sounds quite nice, concave scenario here, so it does look a lot better in the sunlight. This particular car, the all-wheel drive calligraphy model, starts at 77,595, still cheaper than the base EX90. Inside it has Napa leather seats, a 12.3-inch digital dash and touchscreen, an auto terrain mode, heated seats, cooled seats front and rear, everything you need in a large SUV kid transportation device. It's got a big sunroof and a massive boot. It's even got Hyundai's own AI system. It's also got this rather cool 3D camera. How it works, I have no idea, but I know I look a moron. Supposedly the rear seat folds flat into sort of a bed arrangement to give you a bit of a break on long road trips, but I'm not entirely convinced. I mean, yes, it probably is quite, should try it, but it probably is quite comfortable if you're on a road trip and you happen to stop in a truck stop. But then you should be quite careful if you've done that for various reasons. So I don't really think that that's the best bed in the world. If the headrest came off and it sort of folded into the rear seats, it sort of met up with the rear seats, that would sort of be okay. But I'm not entirely sure where they were going with that. What they've just essentially done is make it go a bit flatter. Externally, it may look like a modern interpretation of a Mercedes R-Class, but I think that it looks more grown up than the Kia EV9. It's got class. This, of course, being an electric vehicle, it needs an electric vehicle plug-in point. And I don't know what it is about when people try and make a premium EV. They decide that the flap needs to be absolutely enormous. Hyundai have done a pretty good job, actually, with getting this to sit flush against the car, which is also something that they had trouble with on Tucson. But if we open it up like that, you've got acres of plastic and warning signs and all the rest of it, and the close button and the unhook button, and we've got the fast charging slot in there, which I quite like the fact that this isn't on a string. This is actually a little clippy clip arrangement on the side, but it does feel a little bit like it might come off if you're a bit vicious with it. To be fair, the whole thing feels a little bit like one youth coming down when you've parked it on the street and you've plugged it in. One spinning kick from an 18-year-old with nothing better to do is going to put that well and truly off kilter, and Christ alone knows how much that's going to cost. For some reason it's got a cover on it, but they clearly don't want you to get into the bonnet of it. So there we go. Let's see what is hiding underneath here. So as it turns out, there is actually a bonnet release on the key. So that makes me feel a bit of a spanner. So you can remove a bit of the plastic and pull it twice, or you could just press the button. And in the bonnet, you've got a little recessed well here. So they obviously do want you to get into the bonnet compartment area because they've put the bag for the charge cable in here, along with the tyre mobility kit. So if you want to get your charge cable out, you've got to remove a piece of plastic and pull it twice and eventually get the bonnet out. But weirdly, for the American market in the boot, normally on saloons, you have a little emergency pull tag that's lit up just in case someone gets kidnapped and they can easily release the boot and escape. But this car does have it in the rear for the American market, obviously, but they've decided to put one in here as well. For what reason? At what point do you go, oh, hang on a minute, we've already got a hostage in the back of the car, in the boot of this massive SUV. Let's see if we can put the second hostage in the small compartment at the front. Who is going to fit in here? And then who's going to go, oh, thank God, I've got this bonnet release here, all lit up for me, so I can escape. The other funny thing, if you remove this panel to get to the air filter, the little cassette arrangement here, you notice that the brake fluid is just held in there with a little bit of stressed plastic for some reason. So if you wonder whether that has actually given up and decided to pop off, you'll know roughly when the smell of brake fluid gets into the cabin filter and starts to make your car pong. What are they thinking of? It's very weird. Who is going to get stuck in there? Oh no, I'm stuck in a Hyundai in the front. Quick, let me pull this bonnet release tag. Stupid. What are the Koreans thinking of? In the final row of third seat, it's actually not bad for legroom. Obviously, if they were in the fully back position as these ones are, I'm not really going to be that comfortable. But with it pushed through, you've still got a decent amount of room at the front and room for a whole full-sized real adult in the back, which is pretty good in comparison to something like the XC90. So now the test of, can you actually fold these down while someone's sitting in here? If the dog decides that it doesn't like you anymore and wants to just fold you up into the interior of the car, can it be done? So, what's that, third? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh, that's bad. Yes. You can get put in the mechanics of your own rear third seat if the dog hates you, or it's just a Jack Russell. I'm actually quite surprised about that.
Yeah, I thought there would be.
I thought there'd be a once it's in, you can't do it. Right, let me escape from this. It drives pretty much the same as its slightly bigger brother, the Hyundai Santa Fe, a car that I like, and it feels as big as that. I mean, this is quite a big car. The Santa Fe is a bigger car, and it feels roughly the same. It does feel like the bonnet is very far away from you. The suspension is good. It hoovers up the majority of stuff on this little lane here, but in terms of power delivery, it is quite sprightly, with about 420 brake horsepower on this, the calligraphy model. You don't really need 420 horsepower in a big family vehicle, quite frankly, but it is quite nice to have it. With a good bit of regen on it. The regen seems good, the braking is very nice. It's a lovely car, and to be fair, it handles nicely. It does feel a little bit floppy. It's one of those things that I normally can feel where all the corners are in a car when you drive it. You sort of know how big it is, but this feels quite large and almost a bit unwieldy the more I drive it. This does feel like Korean feng shui. Like the Volvo, Jeremy Clarkson always said that the XC90 had the best interior this side of a Range Rover. And I am inclined to agree with him, but this feels comparatively about the same. The cockpit is really nice. It's a really nice place to sit because the Ioniq 5 felt big, and because the center console was quite reduced back, you find your knee flopping around because it's a completely flat floor. You find that you're sort of rolling around in a massive empty space, but this actually feels like a lovely cockpit. The Korean feng shui of it does raise the question of why would you have an EX90 if you could have this rather nice and I think better looking Hyundai, even though it does beep at you quite a lot. But then again, everything made after 2023 beeps at you incessantly for various things you've done wrong. It's difficult to get bored of electrical power like that, especially at 5.2 seconds 0 to 60. That's the thing about electrical power, delivered instantaneously, and the best thing, it is the best powertrain for a commuter vehicle probably, because at the end of the day you just want to get home as quickly as possible, and instantaneous power is the best thing to get you past the man driving the Rover with the massive ears when he decides to do 30 and a 60 and you just need to get around him. Electrical power is definitely the thing to call upon. Right, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else to say. Tell you what. Ah yes, I'll work it out in voiceover. After a day with the Ioniq 9, it really does confuse me why you would have the Volvo, or in fact the Kia EV9. If you've had the EV9 as some sort of company car, then fine. But if you're spending your own money on a 7-seat electric family car, you want something quiet, quick, well-equipped, and with a touch of class. The XC90 is too expensive and has the styling of a steroid taxi. The Kia EV9 is too Cyberman. So the Ioniq 9 is Swedish meatball minimalism with 420 horsepower of spicy Korean kimchi. Now that is a fusion cuisine for me.